Hello, welcome back to the EKB podcast. I'm Jason.
And I'm Christine.
And this is the Engaging Kingdom Business podcast. Find out more at engagingkingdom.biz. We'll talk a little bit later in the episode about what we actually do. But today we're going to dive into the topic of SEO. Do you know what that means?
What the heck does SEO even stand for?
You don't even know?
I have no idea.
Oh, wow. All right. So I'm about to edumacate some people up in here.
Like me.
Do you, even if you don't know what the acronym means, do you have an idea of what it entails?
Yes.
What is that?
I think it's about getting your website ranked and like to come up to the top of Google or wherever you're.
That's exactly what it is.
Okay.
So SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization.
Oh.
And so when people do SEO on their websites, they are really trying to rank for Google.
Right.
Over
DuckDuckGo
or Bing, whatever other search
Yahoo.
engines there are.
I don't know.
Yahoo.
Does this exist anymore?
So the majority of people on the internet use Google for searching. And so search engine optimization, which means you optimize your website so that you rank higher on search engines and primarily Google. So before I even get into the how-to, and I apologize if this episode is a little bit too technical for you. We always want to come from the place of kingdom business. And so here's how I think that this relates. So search engine optimization isn't for every business because search engine optimization focuses on organic reach, and I think the better term is trying to engage a cold market.
Okay.
So you've been in business, and I think maybe I learned this from you, this idea of cold market versus warm market. And so
I love talking about that stuff.
So talk about that, because that makes a huge difference as to whether or not this episode is going to be for you or this is something for your business. Because you can get excited about it and go do all these things, but it may not be the way the Lord has called you to run your business. So talk about it, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so cold market is, I don't know the person, never seen anybody, but I need somebody to buy something from me who doesn't know anything about, right? So if it's warm market, it really means I know you and I'm trying to get you to buy my product. Mm-hmm. Okay, by the way, it could be service, whatever you do.
Sure.
But so in a lot of what I do, it's primarily warm market, right? Okay. That's the goal. So that means I'm always looking to meet new people to help them get what they need. But for instance, if I'm selling watches, I don't need to know somebody to sell them a watch because a lot of people need watches.
Right.
So I'm going to need SEO for that because I need people to go to a website that they're searching for watches. I need my website to rank highest to be able to get them to click on it.
Sure. So just to give you an idea, somebody goes to Google and types in men's silver band watch.
Right.
Or something like that. Or,
Sure.
Running watch for women or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. That kind of thing. And so those keywords are what people type into the search engine to then go find the websites that are selling these watches. Mm-hmm. And so you're a watch seller. You're trying to reach a cold market. You've got a great product. You paid a bunch of money for a logo. You've got a great website. You're ready to rock and roll. Somebody goes and types in, men's whatever watch, and your website doesn't show up. As a matter of fact, you might be the 500th search result on page, 60 of Google. Nobody's ever going to find your website. Right. The people who might find your website would be your warm market. If you said, hey, I just opened this watch store, and you share it on Facebook, share it on Instagram, you tell your mom about it, you explain it to your grandma, and she tells her friends, whatever. Right. That's probably how they're going to find it. And so there's a huge difference between trying to sell somebody or help somebody that you know and that you don't know. Mm-hmm. And so SEO are for those who have businesses that are trying to reach a cold market, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. So How do we do that? There's so much we can talk about with this, but I want to focus on one strategy, and I think this is a really great strategy, and I think for us it makes sense. So let's just talk about it within the context of engaging kingdom business. So we know that one of our mandates, or one of our mountains on our blueprint, is the education piece. Yeah. Right? We want to help educate people in kingdom business. Like right. We want to teach, we want to inform. And so we have a podcast that's also video. Hello, YouTube. We have a podcast that's video and audio, and we put out these 15 to 20 minute podcast episodes where we seek to help encourage and educate people in kingdom business. So that's part of what we do. It's the education piece. So the best thing that I know how to coach people is, if you feel like, or if the Lord has led you to educate people about a certain topic or a product or a service or a thing. You know, one of the things that blew up YouTube were the how-to videos. Mm-hmm. And so you can go on YouTube and you can search how to tie a tie, I'm like, how to lay laminate floor, how to install laminate flooring. And I watched a video and then I went and I installed laminate flooring. I was just trying to be educated on this. So the education piece is a big deal. And so there is a book called They Ask You Answer. And so if you think about your business, you think about what you do, and then you think maybe about your sales cycle, or you think about the problem that you're trying to solve, those kinds of things. You have free products and then you have services. And so there's a level of education that you can give to people about who you are and what you do. That's for free, and then the goal essentially is to sell them a service or become a coach or a mentor or whatever it is that you do with them. And so this book, They Ask You Answer, you think about any question that anybody might ever ask concerning your business, what you do, who you are, where you're located, how much is it going to cost, when will I get, how long till that ships, what does it look, just all these questions, top 10 questions. And so basically the idea is that you create content around those questions. And so if you can just think about your business now and maybe think about 5 questions that people might have for you concerning any product or service that you sell, and then you can write blogs, do podcast audio, and do videos or email newsletters, that kind of stuff around those topics. So what happens is, as you begin to post this kind of content on your website then becomes somewhat of an educational library for a potential buyer or someone who's looking to be educated on your product. Mm-hmm. When that happens and your website begins to grow in content that's informational for your potential client, and people start to type those questions into Google, like, where do I get my pool cleaner services, Wichita, Kansas? And then you pull up this big list, and then there's like the top 3, and there's paid ads, whatever. Well, the people whose websites are optimized the most are going to come to the top, and chances are you're going to go to their website and they're going to have content that has those keywords, pool cleaners, Wichita, Kansas, in a blog post or on their front web page or tagged in a YouTube video or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. So does that all make sense?
Yeah.
So you're just creating content, whether it's blog, web page, video, or podcast, and you're posting all of that stuff on your website based on all of those keywords that people might search to find your business.
Interesting.
And that's as simple as I can put it. Mm-hmm. And so that is ground level, because there's a lot of other stuff that goes into search engine optimization. Google has an algorithm, and they crawl websites, and they look at, so within the structure of a website, like if you ever go to a website and there's like a really big title, it's the title tag, and then under that's maybe a smaller title. Well, then so it's called H1 tag, H2 tag, H3 tag, so on and so forth. It's structured. And so Google will look at the code to see. So if you go to my webpage and I And I'm saying that, let's just talk about Podcast Solutions. Podcast Solutions provides production, editing, management, marketing, and strategy services for beginner podcasters, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And we're located in Wichita, Kansas. So if I have that as my main title, well, then when Google crawls that page, it's going to go look at that top title and say, what is this page about? And then it's going to scan the rest of the content to see if any of those other keywords are within your paragraphs, your subtitles, in a video that's tagged, that kind of stuff. And so Google it's a robot looking at your website saying, what is this website about? And so you can build a website and write a bunch of stuff about what your business does. And you might hit the keywords, you might not, but SEO is all about being intentional about the keywords that you want to rank for.
Okay. So, tell me this. If I am...
Very educational.
Okay. I just got to say, obvious, I don't even do web pages or anything. So let's pretend there are other people like me, which there are probably a lot of them.
Right. There's probably like, what?
That I'm like, I have to hire somebody to do a web page for me because that's, I don't know code. I don't do any of that.
Right.
Stuff.
Yep.
So am I a graphic designer? No. So I'm going to go and I'm going to hire someone to do a web page for me. Then I find out from Jason that I need to do SEO in the web page, right? I need to have somebody who knows about that stuff.
Right.
So then what do I do? I mean, I understand the need now, especially for cold market, right?
Yeah, right.
Because otherwise, the truth is, we don't want to do anything. If God's calling us to do something and we're trying to release this stuff from heaven and the earth, right? We are going and doing the kingdom work.
Yeah.
But then our website doesn't even show up anywhere.
Right.
It's stupid. It
happens.
We have to think about the practical as well as the spiritual. So we've been talking all about the spirit stuff, and it's super important. But without some sort of physical stuff that can make that manifest, we can't do it, right? And so I don't want to go and hire someone to do a web page for me that looks wonderful that no one sees.
It happens all the time.
Right. So, I mean, I know you do a lot of stuff that has to do with marketing. Can these people just say, hey, Jason, can you take the website I have and kind of custom? I don't know what you would call that, but...
Sure. It happens all the time. This is what SEO companies do. And let me just tell you that if you Google SEO services near me, you are probably going to find companies that are charging tens of thousands of dollars, even more, to help you optimize your site.
Wow.
And so it could be a really expensive scenario. And so if you have the money, by all means, I work for a company now that does that. And that's part of why I know so much about it. The past 2 companies that I've worked for have paid lots of money to have SEO consultants. And so here's the thing. Let me just tell you about the thing with SEO is that, so let's just say you hire somebody, and first thing they're going to do is a website audit. And so they're going to look at your website and they're going to run it through some tools that exist on the internet. And they're going to say, okay, you're ranking for this here and you're ranking for that here. You're not ranking here. You've got this many keywords, this, that, and the other. And they're going to show you a bunch of charts and graphs and numbers. And you're going to be like, okay, basically my website sucks, just not showing up anywhere. And so they're going to charge you just to do the audit and tell you what you need to do. And then they're going to tell you what you need to do and offer you services to actually do that, or tell you here are the things that you can do, but then you actually have to go do those things. And so if you're not a blogger or a podcaster or you don't shoot video, that kind of stuff, you're going to have a really hard time actually making these things happen. And it takes a lot of work. But here's the bright side.
Please.
Let me tell you a little story. Here's the bright side. And I'm just going to say this, and I don't think anybody's listening that's going to follow up with me on this and correct me or anything. But I think, so number one, content's king when it comes to the web world and search engine optimization. And I think blogs are king because blogs, typically when you have a blog, it's a bigger piece of information. And so the more text that you have, the more likely you have space for keywords, and then the more likely Google's going to, see that you have a large amount of content on your page that has a bunch of the keywords, and they're going to say that's a good hit. So I was told that there's something called domain rating. And so basically it's just a grade on your website that says either you are or you aren't the authority website based on this keyword. So like if I go type in if I Google MacBook Pro, who's going to come up? Apple, because it's their company, it's their product, whatever, right? And so there's this idea that there's domain authority. Well, there are, let's just say you're an electrical company. I can't think of one electrical company that like rules the roost when it comes to Googling electrical company. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but there are websites who've done search engine optimization and they rank high because they've done the work. And so last year I started a website called podcastgearforbeginners.com. And basically what I did was I took a search term and I made a website out of it. And then I just started putting up content about podcast gear, mics and recorders and cables and all this stuff. And I was getting some organic traffic, and I think it was roughly because I was like at the bottom of page 1 on Google and like the top of page 2 for the search term podcast gear for beginners. But then what I realized is that people were actually searching podcast equipment for beginners. And so I started to compete with some of these websites that ranked for that. Long story short, I started writing blogs, and I knew that blogging was the way to go. Well, I realized that when I Googled podcast tables, there was very, very little results that popped up. There were some top hits, but very little results of what I was actually looking for. And I said, okay, well, let me write a blog about DIY podcast table ideas. And I wrote one blog, and I put some images, some before afters of some things that I've done. I did a couple of paragraphs, and within a month, I was in some of the top hits for that keyword search. So now my website a year later is ranking 1, 2, and 3 for like a bank of between 5 and 7 keywords: podcast table for 2, podcast desk, podcasting table, podcaster table. So, right, people type in different things. Yeah. And so now my website ranks off of one blog post.
Wow.
So with that being said, the bright side is maybe consider and ask the Lord if you should start writing a blog on your website, because that goes a long way, and you can blog about anything concerning your topic. And so I don't know if you've ever seen a brain map, or a mind map, right? So you just put an idea right in the middle, and then you just kind of brainstorm out. I think that's the easiest way to start. Is just kind of mind map around some topics, and then see what kind of comes up off of that. And then once you start to do that, once you have 20 or 30 words around that initial idea, those are all blog posts. And so the easy way to do it is who, what, when, where, how, and why. Who, what, when, where, how, why. So 6, right? Why should I blog to grow my channel? How do I actually rank my website? I mean, just all of these: who, what, when, where, how, and why, concerning your business, your services, and your products. And I think that's a really easy place to start if your business is geared towards reaching a cold market.
Yeah. Wow, that's good. Well, thank you for explaining that. I think this is a big part,
It's so technical, but it's important.
But yeah, I think the thing is when we step into any kind of business, whether it's kingdom business or anything, we need to know how a business works.
Right.
I mean, you can't just go, okay, I don't know how to do math, but I'm going to charge something. You have to figure out certain things that work. And so I think it's really important to know this. I think what is equally important is to seek the Lord about what you should do, and just how you were talking about the mind map, to go, okay, Lord, what should I do? Why should I do it? How can I do this? All of that. And it would be great to have somebody in your back pocket like you to be able to go, okay, I don't really know how to make it happen, but I could maybe write a blog. Okay, so like for me, this is my life. I could write a blog. Is it what I do every day? No, but I could pull one out and it'd be great. And so I could write the blog. Could I put it on the website? No, I don't know how to do that, but I could call you and say, hey, can you do this for me?
Sure.
And so you could at least do that sort of thing. And so I just want to put it out there that one of the things we do with Engaging Kingdom Business, so if you go to engagingkingdom.biz, you will find that we do have private consultations with Jason or with me. Don't ask me about SEO stuff, okay?
I'm the guy. Ask me for that.
That's the one, okay? If you're going to do any kind of marketing or whatever, you're going to have to ask that guy. But he can help you through this stuff and help you seek what you're supposed to do with the Lord and give you advice on this and share with you what you should do next.
Right.
And I think you're an awesome resource. And
Thank you.
I think there's so much more that people probably want to know that they don't even know if okay, here's the thing. I don't care about SEO. Okay, I don't care about it, but I need to have it implemented. That is the truth. Like, I don't have a desire in my heart to do anything with SEO personally.
Right.
But I know how important it is.
Yeah. And on the flip side, I geek out about how can we rank this site.
Right. And I think that that's good because you have certain gifts in the spirit. And this is an important thing about when we are doing kingdom business, that we recognize that there are people outside of our gifts, callings, desires, anything like that, who can really help our businesses grow.
Yeah.
And some of them are in-house and some of them are out of house. And we have to know, okay, Lord, how do I get what I need to make your business happen? Like, what do I need to do? And I think that that's really what we're here for, is to go, okay, let's seek the Lord together and figure out how we can do what the Lord is calling us to do, and how to not just go, well, I don't know anything about SEO, so I guess I'm screwed.
Yeah, right.
We don't need to be there. And so many of us have done that.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that in the past, gone, I don't know about this stuff, so I'm just going to not even deal with it.
Not even do it, yeah.
And so if we want a successful business, then we really need to seek who God wants us to partner with, because we're not alone.
It's true. It's true. And so that's tip of the iceberg for SEO. Let me give you one more pointer real quick, though. So another thing that Google looks for they're called backlinks. And so all that means is, are there other websites that are linking to your website? And so I'll just give you an example of a backlink so I used to do a podcast called Salty Dogs Podcast.
Yeah.
And so on saltydogspodcast.com, I actually have a tab on our website, or a page on our website, that says podcast gear. It's relevant, right? We're a podcast.
Yeah.
And then on our podcast page, we just have a menu item that says podcast gear. What do we use? So I wrote a blog on our website that says, here's what we use. And I said, for more information about what kind of podcast gear you should buy for your podcast, check out podcastgearforbeginners.com, and I link to my other website from a website that I already have. That's an idea of a backlink. What makes it even better is that when somebody else sees value in your website and then links to your website from theirs, based on what you provide or whatever it is. So Google looks at how many other websites are pointing to your website, and they rank you for that. And that's where domain rating comes in. But think about within your network, and this is what we're trying to do with Engaging Kingdom Business, is build a network of businesses so that we can connect people to be able to do these kinds of things when it makes sense. And so think about if you know anybody else who has a business, and think about how they might be able to write a blog or have a page on their website that links back to yours. I mean, you could even put a page on your website that says, trusted business, whatever. Make sure you trust that business. Trusted business directory, or whatever. You know how people have preferred vendors? Maybe you have a preferred vendor list, and then you just name that company, and then you link to their website from yours, and you can get a network of people to say, hey, we're all going to do that for one another. And so this is why business directories, local directories, listings, those kinds of things on the internet, and they charge you to have a listing, like, hey, it's $39 a year and we'll list your business. It's because it's valuable for SEO because you get that backlink and Google says, hey, that's good. So that's just another quick idea. And again, it goes...
What a good tidbit. I didn't know.
Yeah, so it goes way deeper than that. And there's so much more to do, but there's these simple things that you can begin to do. And I just want to hammer down on that, the content on your website. So the last thing, consider what you do. Let's just look at it from the idea of engaging kingdom business, or even podcast gear for beginners. So really what I want... The phrase that I made about podcastgearforbeginners.com was that I wanted that website to be the Wikipedia for beginner podcasts. So you go to Wikipedia and you can find anything on any topic, right? I mean, It's like this huge encyclopedia. And so there's just page and page and page of information, and they are the authority for most people on certain topics, and they go there and they search, and they're just like, oh, okay, here's what I need. And so just imagine if podcastgearforbeginners.com was a Wikipedia for podcast gear. Like, we talk about every mic, every cable, every connection, every mixer, it's all there. You can go research and find all that information there. And so where that's beneficial to me is that all of that gear is then linked back to Amazon and it's monetized. And so I get a cut if somebody goes and buys.
Right.
So that's that business. But for you, they go to your website and then maybe they see your service or your product. You become the authority on that topic for that person. Like, hey, I Googled, how to start a kingdom business, and Engaging Kingdom Business popped up. So then I listen to some of their podcasts and I watch some of their videos. I really like what they're saying and doing. I'm going to give them a shot. I'm going to do a consultation. Let me see if there's something that, that kind of thing. Hey, they have a group. I'm going to join the group. I want to jump in with other kingdom business people, right? Yeah. Hey, they have a course. I may as well go ahead and jump on that course too.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's how it works.
That's awesome. Cool. Thanks, Jason.
You're welcome. I can talk about this stuff all day long.
Yeah, I might fall asleep if you did that.
I'm glad we only kept it to however many minutes that was.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for giving all this to everybody. I think it's a big deal.
Yeah, that's, I'll tell you what, that right there is worth a good hour consultation.
That's true.
So there's a freebie for you. So tell people where they can go and what they can do.
Well, here's what you got to do. You just need to go to engagingkingdom.biz. You need to check out the different things that we have available. Jason just named most of them. Right. So just the course is wonderful because you can really get practical and dig in deep with the Lord about what you need to do for your business.
And that's the biggest thing.
It really is invaluable. We also have the consultations, of course, with Jason for all of the technical marketing stuff that you got to do. Yeah, man, he's great at all the marketing, the design, gosh, everything.
Thank you.
Yeah, for real. He's a really good resource. And then I do consultations to help people engage in the heavenlies to figure out what they're supposed to do. So if you're stuck and you're like, I just need someone to partner with me to figure this stuff out, that's what I do. And then, of course,
and you do it well. And you've been doing it for a long time. You've helped hundreds, probably even thousands of people at this point.
Thank you. I have.
You have, yeah.
Yeah. We also have this group that I'm really excited about because people can network together and really go, hey, I'm working through this stuff and I don't know what to do. Or, oh my goodness, this has been so fruitful. This is what I did. And just to be able to have other people partner with you and like-minded people, because sometimes that's the hardest thing is getting people who really are on the same page as you. Because, you talk to your father-in-law about it and he's like, seeking the Lord, that's stupid, and then really, I mean, we all have those people in our lives, and it's nice to be around people who really get it and who will do it with you and be your support system. And so anyway, we love helping people through that stuff.
And it's one of our goals is creating networking and helping people through relationship. And, as I was talking about this, our website, we actually don't have a blog. I mean, we're not doing that.
Yet.
But
Yet.
however, we're doing the podcast.
Yeah.
But I personally haven't felt led to really go and do a full SEO scenario on our website, because I really feel like, now, number one, here's where I'm going with this. I think I'm wording this wrong. I know that our heart is to truly partner with people in relationship. And that's like the main thing. And so it almost kind of feels like the warm market's the best place to start. Maybe the Lord will lead us into that. But just our heart to connect with people and do business out of a place of relationship, not just providing a service or a product. Like,
well, it's okay to not do cold market with every business.
Sure.
And for me, I'm all about warm market. I mean, I think that you should always be expanding your warm market. Mm-hmm. And that is something that it's not just about the people you know, it's about getting to know more people.
Right.
And
exactly.
It's always going, how can I fill this need for somebody? Mm-hmm. And so our business absolutely is focused on warm market, because even those who are listening to the podcast who have never heard or met us, we want to become family with you. That's just how it is.
Yeah,
so we don't
like
want to
people.
sell you a product. We want to really do life with you. And so that's a big deal for us. And I think warm market for our business is at the top. Cold market may come at some point, but it's not right now.
Yeah, we really do want to get to know people and have lasting and impactful relationships. And I get that, there's some people that through some of my other businesses I've helped, but then there are some people that you get to know and there's relationship there. And so it goes beyond like, hey, will you come fix the sound on our mixer, to, hey, do you want to grab lunch? Yeah, let's grab lunch. And then it goes beyond that. And I really believe that's what we're all about. We love knowing people in different places. I mean, people all over the freaking world and have been invited to go visit. And so you've done that, and that's amazing. And so that's just our heart, and that's kind of where we're doing business from and why we're doing it, right?
Okay, so if you want to know where to connect with us, what is the email that you email to say, hey, I listened to this and I want to be friends?
Right.
You can say that. It's not weird.
Yeah,
okay?
Right. So again, at the website, we have a contact us form, but if you just want to email us straight up, it's admin, ADMIN, at engagingkingdom.biz, B-I-Z. And so admin at. And so it sounds formal. We could have just said us at. But that's our
weird.
administrative email. It's just one email that Christine and I both check. And so you'll get both of us if you shoot us an email there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope you enjoyed this installment of the Engaging Kingdom Business Podcast. And we will see you next time.
Later.